How's it going, everyone? Marriland here, and that's right, it is time for more Pokemon trading card game stuff, and this time we are returning with a box opening video. That's right, a sealed booster box of one of the newest sets. In fact, I think at the time of this video it definitely is. XY Fates Collide. Yeah, that is right. Now I did open up a few packs of this in a previous video when I was going through some of the tins, so I got some pretty cool stuff in that. If you haven't checked that out, you should do so now. Or if you don't feel like it, you're not missing too much, because we're going to be opening up this whole sealed booster box. If you're not familiar with what a sealed booster box is, it is a 36-pack box kind of thing. It's the big boys booster packs, which is kind of nice. These definitely are expensive, but it can be a great deal if you want to buy a lot of packs, because oftentimes you'll end up getting a deal buying the 36 sealed as opposed to, individual packs, which are typically about $4 each in the US. But yeah, so Fates Collide, we're going to check that out. However, I did want to show these theme decks here. Now, theme decks, they are great for entry-level players because they come with a pre-constructed deck of 60 cards. Everything in the deck will be exactly the same. This deck will be the same as any other deck with the Lugia on the box that says Sky Guardian, which is nice. You always know what you're going to get, and that's really cool. Now, there's also this one over here, which features Zygarde. Now, these just look really cool, okay? Oftentimes, starter decks, they'll have, or theme decks, really, they're kind of a mix of both. They're not as useful for experienced players, but they're great for newer players, and they'll oftentimes have cards in them that make them appealing for experienced players as well. However, I definitely do recommend them more for players just kind of getting started with the games. So here is a look at the two deck lists. Again, like I said, these, unlike the booster boxes and unlike booster packs, these will always be the same. So you always know what you're going to get in every individual box. So the Zygarde theme deck is called Battle Ruler, and it looks like it's got some pretty cool stuff. First of all, you're guaranteed to get a Zygarde, which is pretty cool. It's also, I think it's this one, yeah, right there in the front. If you can see that, it has a kind of neat looking foil pattern. Oftentimes cards in theme decks do have a unique foil pattern, which is kind of a nice little thing that separates them. But yeah, here's a look at the deck list. It's looks pretty decent. It's got Lucario in it. It's got Zygarde, Cinccino, Shuckle, Serperior, Hawlucha, and some useful trainers. Yeah, kind of nice. And then, of course, we have Sky Guardian, which features Lugia. Yeah, that's right. Two really cool Pokemon for a theme deck, I have to say, or, for having theme decks made off of them. Again, usually it's like, I don't know, some Stage 2 Pokemon fully evolved, and I don't know, they theme it fairly well. I think this one looks pretty nice, though. The Lugia in there, Delphox in there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, we're not going to check these out in this video. I just kind of wanted to show you what else is in the set for Fates Collide, because every set does come with theme decks that you can buy on the side, and they can definitely help enhance your gameplay if you're just starting out. It's a great way to get kind of going. Now, here's the part that I'm sure a lot of you really want to see. What I get in my box of Fates Collide. Well, let me tell you, I want to see too. So let's go ahead and open this up. I went ahead and did a little slice here, so it's a little easier for me to get in. I've been trying to remember to do that with box opening and tin opening videos, because sometimes it can be tough reaching through the camera's tripod to open stuff. I know I always make it look so much more difficult than it really is, and that's just because of my recording setup, although I do like it. It's a good recording setup. Hopefully you guys like it as well. So as I say every time I do a box opening video or a tin opening video or anything like that, when I open booster packs, there are two things that I do not do. First of all, I do not rush through the booster packs. This is a show. You've probably noticed it by the length of the video. You're like, really? I could open up that booster box in 10 minutes. Great for you, that's awesome. I like to take an opportunity to look at all the different cards that I'm opening. So if I go slower than you may like, well, that's just my style. There are plenty of people on YouTube doing pack openings and box openings, so maybe one of them would be more your style, but that just happens to be my style. The other thing is, I don't do the pack trick where I rearrange cards in the booster pack before I open them. Well, I mean, I guess I open it, but I don't rearrange them, so the rare card is always the last card. I just like to open up the booster packs the way they came in the pack. That's just me. But anyway, here we go. So we got Spoink, we got Riolu, we got Solosis, Fennekin, Carbink. Ooh, hey, we got that Lugia. Reverse foil Lugia too, so it has pressure. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, any damage done by attacks from your opponent's active Pokemon is reduced by 20. Oh, that's kind of nice. And then Intensifying Burn. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon-EX, this attack does 60 more damage. That's pretty nice. 120 for 3 on a basic Pokemon that just takes colorless energy. That's actually not too bad. Oh, cool, Lucario. This thing has Vacuum Wave for 50. Wow, 50 damage for 1 metal. It isn't affected by weakness or resistance, though. And then it has Fight Alone. If you have fewer Pokemon in play than your opponent, this attack does 60 more damage for each Pokemon fewer you have in play. Wow, that could do a lot of damage. Even if you only have 1 fewer Pokemon in play than your opponent, that's doing 90 for 2. And then, of course, if you had 2 fewer, which isn't that tough to do, it's gonna do what, 150 for... Oh, that can't be right, but it is. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Interesting. Cool, yeah, that's pretty nice. Scorched Earth. Once during each player's turn, that player may discard a fire or fighting energy card from his or her hand. If that player does, he or she draws 2 cards. Nice kind of stadium for fire or fighting Pokemon. Wormadam, Solar Ray, heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon, and then Leaf Cutter. Not too great, but at the same time, if you're just starting, it's not too bad either. And then an Energy Pouch. This is a new kind of item card. It's a Pokemon tool. I mean, that type of item card isn't new. Tools are attached to Pokemon, and they usually grant them some sort of effect. Think of them like items in the game if you're not familiar with them, like held items. So this thing, if this card is attached to, or if the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, put all basic energy attached to that Pokemon into your hand. Oh, that's a nice way to kind of recycle energy if something gets knocked out. So that also did come with a code card for the Pokemon trading card game online. It will unlock 1 booster pack of Fates Collide, which is kind of nice. They are single-use code cards, though. I'm going to be keeping that one, but anytime I get something that I deem an ultra rare, I will be sharing the code, and the first one to redeem it gets it. So I had a Gothita, a Whismur, Minccino, aw, it's so cute. What is it holding, like a spoon? Is it like cleaning spoons? That's so funny. Yeah, I guess it's cleaning up, huh? Volibide, just kind of chilling. Larvitar, just happy in a cave. Reverse foil Volibide, okay. Mothim, Wormadam first. As often as you like during your turn before your attack, you may move 1 damage counter from one of your Wormadam to another of your Pokemon. Oh, okay. So it kind of plays well with the Wormadam. You can shuffle around your damage. Only has Gust for 60, nothing that great. Not terrible. Omanite. Huh, so yeah, you have to restore this. You can't just play this on the bench. You can put this card onto your bench only with the effect of Helix Fossil Omanite, although there are a few other cards that let you get restored Pokemon. And another Scorched Earth. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's Old Amber Aerodactyl, which is kind of similar. You look at the bottom 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal an Aerodactyl you find there and put it onto your bench. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Yeah, fossil Pokemon are a little interesting to get into play. You can't just place them onto the bench nowadays. I know in the past there used to be different mechanics, like there were trainer cards that you would use and you'd set them down as basic Pokemon, but nowadays you just have to rely on finding them with those item cards. Look at that Riolu, it's just like up in a tree, I think? Yeah, cool. Minccino again, cleaning up. Whismur, Snivy, that's kind of neat. Aw, Fennekin with a Chikorita. That's so cute. Gosh darn it, I love the artwork for cards. That's one of my favorite things about the card game, to be honest. It's called a trading card game because, you know, you can trade for the cards you want and collect them, too. And I'm a big fan of collecting. Let's see, Reuniqueless. Link Fusion. If Solosis is on your bench, this attack does 30 more damage. If Duosion is on your bench, this attack does 60 more damage. If Reuniqueless is on your bench, it does 90 more damage. Wow, that's a lot. If you had all of those in play, that would be doing a lot of damage. Huh. Cinccino with a little flower. Covet. Your opponent reveals his or her hand. Choose a card you find there and put it on the bottom of your opponent's deck. Wow, that's kind of mean. And then Last Resort. If Tails, it does nothing. Oh, that's kind of bad. Ooh, double colorless energy. That's always a nice card to see because it's very useful. You attach this and it provides 2 colorless energy. That means 2 energy of any type that just says colorless on it. So let me see if I can find an example. A lot of people get really confused about this. For instance, if I had this double colorless energy attached to Fennekin, I could use Tail Whip, because it only takes 2 colorless, which can be energy of any type. I could not use Will-O-Wisp, because even though, oh yeah, colorless is any type of energy, that only is for using attacks. Colorless energy, like double colorless energy, does not provide energy of every type. I know a lot of you know this already, but you'd be surprised, still to this date, how many people think that's like, oh yeah, I can use 2 of anything! No, colorless only is anything if you're trying to supply the energy for the attack, not if you attach it. Okay, so here's Dome Fossil Kabuto, which is kind of similar to the old Amber Aerodactyl, except you get Kabuto instead with it, if you see it on the bottom 7. Alrighty, here we go. We're opening up another pack. Alright, so this Carbink was actually pretty nice in the pre-release I was at recently. So this thing has Safeguard. It is an ability that has been used by several Pokemon, but it's nice to see it on a fighting type basic like Carbink. It prevents all effective attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokémon-EX. And then it has a rather underwhelming attack for 40 damage. Aw, Deerling! So, at first glance, you might think, oh, this is adorable, and that's true, it is. But also, you look at the attack. When I first saw Find a Friend, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, you get a basic Pokemon from your bench, put it in. No, you search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Now, again, you probably aren't going to be relying on Deerling if you're playing in very competitive tournaments, but it's nice because you can get evolutions with this, and Pokemon-EX, and all sorts of things. You put it into your hand, so it's great for getting out evolutions, if you feel like using Deerling in your deck, of course. Bronzor, Iron Defense, Hammer In, yeah, kind of underwhelming there, buddy. Here's another Riolu with Smash Punch. It's kind of cool. A Jigglypuff. Reverse Foil Dome Fossil, Kabuto, and... oh, cool, Altaria EX. That's neat. Oh, nice. So 170 hit points, colorless, and it has Powerful Gain. If this Pokemon was healed during this turn, this attack does 60 more damage and heal 30 from this Pokemon. Huh. 90 for 2, especially if you could be a double colorless. That's kind of interesting. And then Shining Wind. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon has no weakness. 80 for 3 is a little underwhelming on a Pokemon-EX, but it's still okay, and it can Mega Evolve, of course. That's nice. Well, cool. We got our first Pokemon-EX. That's nice. Or at least in this booster box. Cinccino, Kangaskhan. This is a nice card for beginners, okay? It was all over the pre-release because it has 120 hit points, it's a basic Pokemon, and its attacks are extremely straightforward, okay? It has a tiny punch for the little one, and then it has a mega punch coming from Big Mama Kangaskhan. I like that, it's kind of nice. You don't have to think too much about it, but 100 for 4 on a basic Pokemon that isn't an EX, and it can be any kind of energy. I mean, you can put this in literally any deck, and it's kind of nice. So if you're just kind of starting out and you're looking for things that are great, you could throw this in pretty much any deck and be okay with it. Duosion. Oh, it has kind of a similar attack. If Solosis is on your bench, does 30 more. If Duosion's on your bench, does 60 more. Wow, it's kind of cool. Okay, so as promised, I will give the first person to redeem this. Ooh, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you. You're going to have to do it upside down, though. Yeah. Tilt your head. There you go. Yeah, so the first person to redeem this on the trading card game online unlocks one booster pack of the set, which is kind of nice. It's a great way to get some practice in, build up a virtual collection of cards. It's kind of neat. I should probably get into that some more. I've played it a bit back a ways, but not recently. All right, here we go. So, making the way through the box. Hopefully you're having a good time. I sure am. I like the set so far. Okay, so Burmy, hang down. Cottony. Riolu again with double smash. Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen this Gothita. Whismer, we've seen that a few times. Oh, it's a foil Minccino. It's really cleaning up now. Ooh, Superior. So 140 hit points. It has Coil for 40. During your next turn, this Pokemon's attacks do 60 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. And then Slashing Strike, 1 for 80. Wow. And it can't use Slashing Strike during your next turn. So I could see you just doing like Coil, Slashing Strike, Coil, Slashing Strike, which, hey, you know, after you've used Coil, Slashing Strike's gonna do 140 for 1 energy. That's pretty nice. Yeah. Altaria Spirit Link. So, Spirit Link Pokemon Tool cards, these can be attached to Pokemon-EX that Mega Evolve. Normally, when you Mega Evolve a Pokemon, it ends your turn. However, if it has a Spirit Link Pokemon Tool attached to it, then it does not end your turn instead. So you have to have a specific card to get around that restriction, and that means including it in your deck, but then you can attack right away. So that's kind of useful. That would be helpful if I got a Mega Altaria EX, wouldn't it? Pokemon Fan Club. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. And there's Kabuto. Just hiding under a rock. Okay, that's fine. Just waiting to be revived or something. I mean, I guess it's already revived if it's there, right? Should be. Okay, so we got Burmy again. Koffer. Meowth. Look at that thing. There's been a Meowth in a lot of sets recently, huh? This one has Turmoil Strike. Does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. Ah, interesting. Another Larvitar. This one just kind of hanging out. What is that, a tree stump? I think it's a tree stump. Huh. Mountain Munch. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck and Corkscrew Punch. Nothing overly exciting, but cute artwork. That Diglett looks weird. I don't know what it is about it. It just looks kind of strange. Oh, Alakazam Spirit Link. Again, kind of like I just explained, except this time it works for Alakazam EX rather than Altaria. Oh, what is this? What is this? Look at that Grumpig. Oh my goodness, that art is so funny. It's like dancing on a table, and there's like a Wigglytuff and a Minccino, and everyone, they're holding up their spoons. I don't know what it is about this, but this has to be one of my favorite artwork, favorite art I've seen on a card in a while. It's just so funny. It's hilarious. Okay, what does it even do? Put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto his or her bench, then put 3 damage counters on that Pokemon. Wow, that could really mess with some things. Interesting. And then knockback. Your opponent switches his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her benched Pokemon. Wow. They get to choose in that instance, but that head walking could be wild. Alright, and then Whimsicott, Light Steps. Move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. That seems pretty underwhelming, but it is kind of cute looking at least. Duosion again. What's that hiding back here? What are you? Oh, Devolution Spray. Devolve one of your evolved Pokemon and put the highest stage evolution card on it into your hand. That Pokemon can't evolve this turn. Huh, so that could actually work quite well with certain Pokemon that have an ability that is activated when you play it from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon. A lot of Pokemon have an ability that triggers when they evolve, so you could use Devolution Spray and then get another use of that ability. That's a great card to see returning, especially since it isn't even a coin flip or anything like that. All right, we got Bronzor. We've got Snubbull hiding under a table. What have you done, Snubbull? You knocked over the roses. Look at you. Yeah, you can't hide from justice. Yeah, this thing caused a ruckus. Kind of odd attack. Burmy again. Cottony, Oriolu, Bronzor, reverse foil Bronzor, and Mew! Oh my goodness, it's Mew! Yeah, that's pretty cool. So this thing, it's just a normal foil rare, so I mean, you know, it's not like super duper ultra rare, but it is still Mew, and you know, Mew is obviously sought after by collectors. So this thing has 50 hit points, Psychic type, an ability, Memories of Dawn. I don't know why Mew's thinking of the Diamond and Pearl arc, but oh well. This Pokemon can use the attacks of any of your basic Pokemon in play. You still need the necessary energy to use each attack, so that's kind of cool. It's a good way to use Pokemon-EX's attacks, except without having to do that. I guess it would give a little bit of extra hit points when attacking with like Night March or something, and Free Retreat is cool, and then it has Encounter. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So it can't really do anything on its own, but it can copy the moves of other basic Pokemon in play. It doesn't work for evolved Pokemon, otherwise it'd be great if you use that with, the Reuniqueless. Fairy Garden. Each Pokemon that has any fairy energy attached to it, both yours and your opponent's, has no retreat cost. That could be nice if you have like a rainbow energy on stuff to give them free retreat if you're not playing a fairy deck, and if you are playing a fairy deck, well, great. They get free retreat. I think that was already printed though, way back. So Weezing, Balloon Bomb, flip 2 coins. For each heads, discard 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Ooh, that could be crazy. And then Thick Liquid, both active Pokemon are now confused and poisoned. Nasty. Team Rocket's Handiwork, a supporter, so you can only play one of these per turn. You flip 2 coins. For each heads, discard 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Isn't that like just like Weezing here? Yeah, except it's a supporter. Huh. Kind of curious, I guess. It's a shame that you don't get to draw any cards with it, but you could potentially wreck your opponent's deck, get rid of some of their good cards. So often that can be an effective way to stop your opponent from winning, is get rid of their good cards by discarding them before they have a chance to play. Usually you have to have a pretty focused deck to make that happen though, but yeah, I can't even. I was trying to think, you never know what could happen, or you know that it could do. You know, right? You know what I'm talking about. I'll take the usual. Okay, Rocket Jump, Mini Link, Binnacle, Swing Around. Ooh, Moltres, Reverse Foil, Combustion, and Flying Flare. You may do 40 more damage. If you do, this Pokemon does 20 damage to itself. Wow, 120 for 4. Kind of curious. Ooh, Kabutops. Cling. Heal from this Pokemon the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon. That could be kind of nice if you combo that with some strong energy. And then X-Scissor. If heads, it does 60 more damage, so 140 for 3. That's nice, although it's a pain getting Kabuto out. N. Oh man, N has been reprinted. Oh boy. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck. Then each player draws a card for each of his or her remaining prize cards. That is brutal if you get to sudden death with that thing. Oh, there's Hawlucha with Backflip and Wicked Jab. Kind of funny looking. And Dome Fossil Kabuto. Alrighty. You know, man, I was just really tripping up on my words. It's so weird. I mean, I do that all the time, but I just could not think of what I wanted to say. I had all sorts of things I did, but I just could not make up my mind. All right, so we got Coughing, Snivy, Diglett, Seal, Fennekin, and oh, whoa, that looks so cool. Lugia BREAK. Oh, man. So, for a BREAK evolution, as they're called, yeah, that's right, Lugia evolves. You play this on top of the Pokemon that its base form is. So, for instance, I'd play this on top of Lugia, and I would then gain the use of its its attack that you see down there, which is Flash of Destruction. Discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon for 150 damage. It does say 2 energy, so you could discard just 1 double colorless energy and that would satisfy it. It doesn't say energy cards, so that's good to know. It would also have 150 hit points. Can I find that Lugia really quick? I think I got that rather early on. Hey, I found it. Let me show you how this would work. There's also a Barbaracle there, but let's face it, we want to see this thing. So it would actually look kind of like this if you were to have it played. It would have the ability Pressure, it would have Intensifying Burn, but it would have 150 hit points and that big damage attack. Huh, that's kind of neat. I guess I'll set that there with the Lugia. Why not, right? Alright, cool. Then we got Barbaracle with Hand Block. If you have a Stadium card in play, your opponent can't attach any special energy cards from his or her hand to his or her Pokemon. Wow, and that can be used from the bench too. That is kind of nice. Of course, your opponent could get around that by just playing a Stadium card, but a lot of certain decks are very dependent upon special energy cards, like double colorless energy. For instance, one of the popular decks, Night March, I'm pretty sure, depends on that. So that's a good way to kind of shut them down. Wormadam, first attack, 30 for 1, not too bad. And then Twin Burst, if Mothim is on your bench, this attack does 60 more damage. Huh. I probably wouldn't build a deck around it, but it's not terrible. Oh, look at that! It's Zydog! Yeah, Zygarde 10% form. It is kind of cool to see this before it made its debut in one of the main series video games. Yeah, this thing has Lookout! Or I'm assuming it's Lookout. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of his or her active. Because of that wording, you would choose which Pokemon comes up. So that's kind of nice. And then Aura Break. For 70 damage, takes 1 fighting and 2 colorless. If the defending Pokemon is a Dark or Fairy Pokemon, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. Ooh, that's kind of brutal. Take that, Yveltal or Zygarde. Or not Zygarde, Yveltal or Xerneas. And then Omanite. So silly looking. That was with the Lugia break, wasn't it? So I will give you a booster pack online. Yeah, there you go. First one to redeem it gets it. You know you want it, right? Yeah, you know you do. Okay, what else do we have? Making progress through the box. Got some pretty cool stuff already. I like that Lugia break a lot. It looks really cool. Really cool indeed. Okay, we got another Carbink. We got Deerling. Minchino. Aw, that one's not cleaning spoons though. Bronzor. Snubble. Almanite. Oh! Whoa! Look at that thing! That thing looks so cool looking! Dang, that's a lot of spoons. Minchino must have been cleaning those, huh? Yeah, Mega Alakazam-EX. 210 hit points, Psychic type. This is the full art version, by the way. There is a version that is not a full art. The full art has, you know, a lot cooler looking artwork, generally speaking. It's a rarer version of it. So, yeah, this thing you would Mega Evolve from your Alakazam-EX, and its attack, Zen Force, does 10 damage. Not that much, huh? For 1 Psychic and 1 colorless, but it does 30 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. Wow, so if you hit them for just a little bit of damage, this thing will just tear it apart with its spoons, huh? Kind of interesting. I don't know how much play it'll see. It seems like a bit to set up, but could be kind of cool. Double colorless energy again. That's nice. Aw, Braixen! Just dancing with some fire. Destructive Flame and Crackling Ribbon. Looks so happy. Whimsicott, just kind of sleeping. All right, well, you get another code card. Again, first person to redeem this gets it. Yeah, there you go. Also, if you have been watching these videos of mine for a while, you might know sometimes it's better just to skip towards the middle or the end, because oftentimes people, you know, they'll just skim for the code cards and rush to them, but if you start at the end, maybe, just maybe, you'll get luckier. Of course, I would have definitely appreciated if you watched the whole video, but yeah, that's a good way to score the code cards if you happen to be first. I'm first, guys, look at me, no one else stood a chance, I'm first. Oh, it feels so good to be first. You win like internet awards and stuff for being first. Yeah, they have like whole segments on the internet dedicated to people who are the first comment. Right? Lass's Special. Draw a card for each of your opponent's benched basic Pokemon. Oh, that's kind of special, I guess. And you just draw a card. Could be pretty good. Could draw you up to 6 cards. Aerodactyl. So this can be restored and restored only, but it has a very powerful move for just 2 energy. Jet Draft, 120 damage. And you discard a special energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. That's really good for a double colorless energy. Of course, you would discard said double colorless energy if you were fighting against your opponent's Aerodactyl that did that to you. But it's nice that it doesn't have a negative drawback for a 2 for 120 damage attack. Other than, of course, getting Aerodactyl out in the first place. Oh, look at that Loudre, that's pretty cool. Oh, hey, Alakazam Spirit Link. I think I got one of those already, but it just made me remember the one I just got. Wormadam, the metal type one, Strike Back, does 20 damage times the number of damage counters on this Pokemon. And then Iron Head, flip a coin until you get tails, does 20 more damage for each head. So that's kind of interesting. Not as great as the fighting one in my opinion, but still kind of cool. I think the fighting one seemed like the best of the ones that I've seen. Alright, and I've seen them all now. Cool, so we got Gothita, we've got Minccino, we've got Whismur, we've got Fennekin again, followed by, oh, another break. It's Bronzong break this time. Wow, that looks really wild looking, and it has a big attack. What the heck does this do? So it has 130 hit points, and Metal Rain. Let's see if I can read this. Discard as many metal energy attached to this Pokemon as you like. For each energy card discarded in this way, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and do 30 damage to it. Don't apply weakness and resistance. You may choose the same Pokemon more than once. So you'd have to discard a lot of metal energy for that to be good, but it could do a lot of Pokemon, or a lot of damage to a lot of different Pokemon. I don't know. It's not quite as appealing as the Lugia, but I guess I haven't seen the normal Bronzong yet, so I probably shouldn't judge. Mandibuzz, Bone Drop. This attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has an ability. Oh, okay, and then Cutting Wind. Excuse you! Team Rocket's Handiwork, Fairy Garden, and Dancing Breaks In. Okay, so here you go. Have another code card. Yes! There you go. Okay, well, I've gotten some breaks so far. That's good. Yeah, so almost halfway through the box. It does pick up in speed after, you know, opening up a few packs, thankfully. Because I've already seen a lot of stuff. Okay, Diglett, Seal, Seal, Icy Snow, Fennekin, Carbink again, Deerling, Reverse Foil Altaria Spirit Link. Oh, it's so cute! Aw, Mega Audino EX. It is a colorless Pokemon despite looking incredibly pink in the background. And it's adorable. 220 hit points. And Magical Symphony. If you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn, this attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So 110 for 3 of any type. And since you'll oftentimes play a supporter card from your hand, it also does 50 to the bench. That's pretty solid, actually. 220 hit points is nice, colorless, just weak to fighting. That kind of hurts, but it's still pretty darn good. Don't know if I like it better or worse than the Alakazam, or Mega Alakazam EX, but I like it because it's adorable. Ultra Ball, very good card. Servine with Serpentine Strangle. What a name. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Yeah, okay. Energy Reset. Put as many energy attached to your Pokemon as you like into your hand. That's kind of useful, actually. It doesn't seem useful and it's very situational, but it could be pretty darn useful. If, you know, you want to rearrange your energies in any sort of way. Especially if you have things that let you play energy from your hand. Anyway, there's another code card for another ultra rare. Or at least, you know, a rare kind of thing. Obviously, like, everyone has different definitions of what is an ultra rare. I just count any card that, you know, is more than just a normal foil rare card. Alrighty. So, we got Deerling, Minccino, Bronzor, Snubble under the table, Burmy, Reverse Foil Gothita. Oh, there's Bronzong. Okay, so what does this thing do? Prevent all effects of your opponent's attacks, including damage done to your bench Pokemon. Okay, that's kind of nice. And wow, that's pretty good actually. And then Guard Press. During your opponent's next turn, any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks is reduced by 20. Well, that leaves a bit to be desired, but kind of nice that it just blocks the opponent from hitting your bench. Freezing Breath on this Dugong. Yeah, it's okay. It's not all that great. It's okay. Alrighty. Well, this has been a pretty good half of a box so far. I feel good about that. Nice. Okay, so we're not even halfway done. Dang. All right, so we got Coughing, Snivy, Diglett, Sue, Fennekin, a Reverse Foil Almastar, Restoring Beam. Once during your turn before your attack, you may search your deck for a restored Pokemon and put it onto your bench. Shuffle your deck afterwards. That's pretty cool, actually. Because you don't have to use the standard way of getting restored Pokemon. You can just place like Aerodactyl straight onto your bench, which is really nice. And you can just search your deck for it. Even though its attack is pretty bad, it's great for getting restored Pokemon. Like, just attack with an army of Aerodactyl once you got that thing out. Seriously, 120 for 2, and it isn't an EX? You could just swarm with that. Snorlax, Toss and Turn. This attack can be used even if this Pokemon is asleep. If it is, this attack does 90 more damage. And then Swallow. Heal from this Pokemon the same amount of damage you did to the opponent's active Pokemon. Yeah, that's interesting. It's cool to see an attack that can be used when you're asleep. Oh, whoa, here we go. Chaos Tower. Let's see. Special condition. Oh, I'm reading it upside down, right? Yeah, so I know that. When you play this card, you actually choose which way you will play it, like which direction. You choose which way this card faces before you play it. This player, the one that side is towards me right now, this player's Pokemon can't be asleep or paralyzed. If those Pokemon are already asleep or paralyzed, remove those special conditions. If you play it like this, though, this player's Pokemon can't be confused or poisoned. So asleep or paralyzed for that side, and then confused or poisoned this side. That's kind of wild. And it will affect your opponent if you play it like this. Like in this case, the opponent could not be asleep or paralyzed, and I could not be confused or poisoned. Yeah, that's kind of chaotic, I'd have to say. Tough to keep track of, but kind of a clever idea. Depends on what you're trying to do with the deck. Yeah, alright, so let's see. We got Jigglypuff. Alright, we got Riolu, Sue, Larvitar, Volibee, Sue again, and whoa, White Kyurem. That's something I was not expecting to see. Burning Icicles, because that sounds righteous. 40 damage. If this Pokemon has any fire energy attached to it, this attack does 20 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Wow, for a water and a fire, or like a rainbow energy and a colorless. That is really nice for some spread damage. 40 and then 20 to 2 of your opponents. And then Blizzard Burn, 2 water, a colorless, it does 130 damage, and then it can't attack next turn, but still. That's kind of cool. No pun intended. Hawlucha, Power Memory. Look at that, it's a little Zygarde cell. So this thing is a Pokemon tool. It gets attached to a Pokemon, but you'll only really want to attach it to Zygarde-EX. The Zygarde-EX this card is attached to can also use the attack on this card. In this case, all cells burn! For 2 fighting, 1 colorless, it does 200 damage, and you discard 3 energy attached to this Pokemon. So it's kind of like a last resort sort of thing, but it's a great way to just totally nuke whatever's up in front of you. Oh wow, that's cool. Alright. Anyway, 2 packs left on this half of the box. I see that the video is running a bit long. I'm kind of almost thinking it would be good to split it up just to make things a little bit better. I think I might, because this has gone on for a while. We'll do a part 2 after this half of the box. Binnacle, Snubble, Snivy, Solosis, Wigglytuff, Expand, Double Slap. Yeah, I guess it's not that great. It's kind of cute though. Rotom. Energy Extract. Search your deck for a basic energy card and attach to this Pokemon. Shuffle your deck afterwards. And then Plasmagic. Move 2 damage counters from each of your Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. Wow, that could be really good if you did some stuff right with that. Huh. Chinchino. Sweeping. That's a different Chinchino, isn't it? Yeah, it is. That thing has Sweeping Cure, heal 90 damage from one of your bench Pokemon, and then knock away. Yeah, that's not that great, although healing 90 is kind of wild. It's Shiona! Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. Kind of a useful supporter. Not super great, but not terrible at the same time. And then Servine. Okay, so as I just said, we will split this into 2 videos, just so, you know, it's not running too late or anything. And I'll continue right where we left off. But we're gonna open this pack for the last pack of this video. So let's go ahead and do this. Minccino, Vullaby, Larvitar, Puffer, Snivy, Cottony, a Marowak, a Dancing Marowak. Wow, that's so great. Bodyguard. Prevent all effective attacks done to you or your hand by your opponent's Pokemon. Yeah, you're not gonna mess with my hand. Remove any existing effects. That's actually really wild to see something that protects your hand, like you, the player. So things that would discard cards from your hand would not work if they're attacks effects, that is. So yeah, wow, that's kind of unique, and it can be used from the bench too. And then Bone Meringue, flip 2 coins. This attack does 60 damage times the number of heads. Okay, okay. Shuckle, hide a berry, hide it. Draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. Interesting, and wrap. Yeah, not all that great. Last is Special and Wheezing. Yep, so I think we're gonna end things here. Again, this will be a 2-part video just so we have plenty of time to go over the stuff. Then the second half will go much quicker, don't worry. But yeah, it will also be up later today. Don't worry, I'm not gonna make you wait that long for it. If you're watching this sometime quite in the future, the reason it's split up into 2 is that way you can just kind of choose how much you want to watch. So don't worry. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next half of the Fates Collide box opening video. See you next time, everyone!